Impact Wrestling is a punchline these days, but while the company has given us plenty to laugh at over the years, their reputation isn't entirely fair. After all, if it wasn't for TNA, there's a decent chance we wouldn't have AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, or Xavier Woods, and therefore the New Day, in WWE today. On a similar note, they extended the careers of guys like Sting, and Kurt Angle had some of his best years there. No, TNA was never perfect, but it gave the industry a lot, and there's plenty left for the taking should Vince McMahon ever feel like doing a spot of idea plundering. Impact history is crammed with gimmicks and concepts that WWE could use today, and given how open wrestling promoters are about stealing each other's stuff, perhaps we'll see them turn up on Raw or SmackDown someday. I'm Andy from WhatCulture.com, and here are 7 TNA gimmicks WWE should steal. Number 7. Roxy Leveaux's Hardcore Knockout. While WWE loved to parade their so-called revolution at every opportunity, TNA were pushing women's wrestling long before Vince McMahon, and while not their most famous wrestler, Roxy Leveaux's Hardcore Knockout character was a breath of fresh air in 2008. Following her run as the Voodoo Kin Mafia's manageress, Roxy underwent a major makeover and had her head shaved after a run-in with Angelina Love and Velvet Sky. She started indulging in weapons-based brawls soon after, and eventually, Roxy was drawing serious attention. There was a reason for that. Leveaux stood out because she looked and worked differently to everyone else on the roster. Unfortunately, this didn't result in a big push though. TNA dropped the ball, but WWE could have success with someone like Ruby Riott in this role, though their PG rating means they'd need to take it easy on the violence. Number 6. The British Invasion. A genuine UK wrestling pioneer, Doug Williams went full-time with TNA in 2009 and immediately joined forces with Brutus Magnus and the Enforcer Rob Terry, forming the British Invasion. Sadly, it was another great idea that Impact just didn't capitalise on. They were a trio of arrogant, elitist Brits who believed their country's style of wrestling was superior to any other, and while they started almost comically snooty, they evolved into something more hard-nosed by the end. Given the glut of unused UK talent on WWE's roster, this is something they could easily pilfer. It'd be a great fit for Pete Dunne, who's already being compared to William Regal. Throw his former British strong-style sidekicks Trent Seven and Tyler Bate into the mix, then add Wolfgang in the Rob Terry role, and you'd have a solid little stable. Just stay away from hammy British comedy though. Please, for the love of God, no tea and crumpets. Number 5. Jay Lethal's Black Machismo. Though mostly known for his time in Ring of Honor, Jay Lethal's mainstream popularity peaked as part of TNA's roster, and specifically when he adopted the Black Machismo gimmick in 2007. Sure, playing a Macho Man impersonation act sounds like a death sentence, but Lethal made it work. His mannerisms, inflections, and speech patterns were 100% Randy Savage, and it got over huge. Now, Jay is under Ring of Honor contract and he obviously can't leave until that expires, but he'd make a great addition to NXT, and if he gets there, Black Machismo is the way to go. Full Sail crowds love bold, outlandish characters, and WWE would be paying tribute to a beloved legend, allowing them to point eyes towards classic network content. Besides, who wouldn't want to see a reprisal of Lethal's most endearing persona? Number 4. The Gut Check. This is a weird one, because Gut Check was clearly influenced by Tough Enough in the first place, but it came with a twist. It happened in front of a live TV audience, with a panel voting on the future of a tryout hopeful who just wrestled an established TNA star. Sure, NXT's reality show era was grim, but this is right up WWE's street. Like TNA, they could use it to give company legends like Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin airtime on the panel, and it would be an easy way to fill a big chunk of airtime, another of their priorities. Booking it would be super easy. Picture evil Stephanie McMahon throwing a poor newcomer to the wolves by having them wrestle one of Raw's top heels. The match would have instant heat and should only help the sympathetic contestant. Number 3. Women's Tag Team Titles. This was a cracking idea, so of course Impact made an absolute bollock of it. The likes of the Beautiful People and TNA were awesome champs, but TNA'd all over the place towards the end, with Eric Young, who I'm pretty sure isn't a woman, one of the final champs. Still, the concept was solid, and with WWE's female roster growing by the month, it's something they're probably already looking at. The combined ranks of Raw, SmackDown and NXT could easily sustain it. They have ready-made groups like the Riot Squad, Absolution, Charlotte and Becky Lynch, the Iconic Duo, and countless more. Right now, there's no real point for them to team up because there's no obvious prize, but tag titles would give them a purpose. Granted, WWE already have about 40 different titles floating around at the moment, but if the revolution is to progress, this is a must. Number 2, the Bound for Glory series. WWE have already tried farting around with a pseudo-league system on SmackDown, but while Daniel Bryan's top 10 list hasn't made much sense so far, it isn't an inherently bad idea. TNA's Bound for Glory series attempted to present the league structure with tangible rewards. It was a lengthy round-robin competition that assigned points not only based on wins and losses, but how they occurred, making for a number of interesting scenarios. In the end, the winner received a TNA heavyweight title shot, giving it real stakes. Granted, the series occasionally dragged and WWE would need to streamline the complicated rules, but there's no reason they can't improve on TNA's original blueprint. It'd be a great way to fill Raw and SmackDown's dead air with great TV matches every week, and WWE bloody love a tournament, so why not give it a shot? Number 1, the Main Event Mafia. TNA love a main event heel stable, but while most of them absolutely sucked, shoutouts to the band, the Main Event Mafia started as a solid idea. They were a group of grumpy, arrogant veterans out to teach the young whippersnappers a lesson. Sting, Kurt Angle, Kevin Nash, each was a major star, a former world champion, and while things went to shit as soon as Samoa Joe entered the fold, their initial run succeeded. WWE could easily book this kind of angle. Guys like Triple H, Randy Orton, and John Cena would be natural fits. Even Roman Reigns, the company's hand-picked golden boy, would work, and feuding them against internet favourites like Finn Balor and Sami Zayn would be instant mega heat. The gimmick writes itself, and it would play on the them and us dynamic between the company and their fans, provided, of course, WWE don't use it as a vehicle for burials.
So, thanks for watching. Please feel free to click on any of these things around my head, or something terrible might happen to the dog. Too sweet me, bro. Traitor. Traitor.